Good evening. It's the coldest of them all, aka Mike Eyeshot, tuned in on your dial on another episode of the Litjuicecity channel, Kush and Conversation podcast, the Juneteeth edition. And in this episode, we gonna be basically explaining Juneteenth and breaking down what the meaning is and are we really independent? So, with that being said, let's get right to it. Penalty of the play. Flag on the play, I should say. America. Are black Americans really independent? Is Juneteenth really our black version of Independence Day? In my opinion, hell no. Now, I'm celebrating our ancestors that fought for us, that was fighting against oppression, but physically we're free, but mentally, financially, and a whole lot of other ways we're not free. And I'm gonna provide some examples of how we're not. So with that being said, let's get to the first point of the real meaning of Juneteenth. Rob, roll that footage.
Juneteenth, short for June 19th, is the day commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. It's a holiday that has been celebrated since 1866 and represents a critical turning point in American history. Open up a classroom history book, and the author might say that slavery ended on January 1st, 1863. The day when President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, it established that all enslaved people in the Confederate States in the rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforth and forever free. Of course, the proclamation stated this, but it did not instantly free any enslaved people. It would take another 2 years for slavery to end in the United States. In Texas, slavery continued uninterrupted during the Civil War. The state wasn't involved in large-scale battles, and there wasn't a real presence of Union troops. 2 months after the war came to a close, U.S. General Gordon Granger arrived on Texas soil and read General Order No. 3. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. Granger's arrival marked the freedom for 250,000 enslaved people in the state. Although emancipation didn't happen overnight, celebrations broke out among newly freed black people. Juneteenth was born. The following year, freed people in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th. The holiday wasn't widely celebrated across the country, but the traditions continued to grow over the next several decades. By 1979, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday. Finally, in June 2021, Congress passed a resolution establishing Juneteenth as a national holiday.
And now we take you live to the East Room of the White House, where President Biden is going to sign the law making Juneteenth a national holiday.
All right.
Juneteenth marks a date of major significance in American history. It's the longest tradition of celebrating the emancipation of thousands of enslaved people who forcibly worked and lived in inhumane conditions. The 2-year march from when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed to the arrival of troops in Texas is a metaphor for the many ways in which freedoms for black people have been delayed in this country. Today, the holiday is a way to acknowledge past faults, help heal current divisions, and move toward a future of a more perfect union.
Now, that was pretty much a dissection of what Juneteenth was all about. Now, basically, like I said, I celebrate my ancestors that fought oppression for us. And still, basically, it's a lot of oppression still going on. And I'll give you a clear-cut, another example case of basically what's going on and what have you, like how we're not we're celebrating, we're supposedly supposed to be celebrating independence, but we're still not, and we still have like a chokehold on us independently. And a case in point is there's a lot of Asian businesses that's pretty much putting a chokehold on the black community, and it's actually an Asian American female that actually just gives a whole explanation about why that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give y'all a clip of that. Go ahead, Rob.
Asian American businesses have been operating in black communities for 60 years. I'll say it again. The Civil Rights Act passed in 1964, and the United States opened the door to Asian immigration in 1965 to put immigrants in the way of black people. And this idea that the tension between business owners and customers is one of mutual cultural misunderstanding that could be overcome if they just got to know each other better, the time for that has long passed. And as I've said before, the problem with framing the misunderstanding as mutual is where one demographic owns the businesses and the other demographic has to pay. There's no mutuality. There is a power imbalance. The only situation that I could see being beneficial at this point would require Asian Americans to be willing to leverage their ability to secure the business loans, to secure supplier accounts, and to attain business licenses.
I basically couldn't get the whole thing, but basically she's saying they basically put Asian American businesses in the black community to pretty much blackball us and pretty much put a whole nother chokehold on us instead of just having Asians just collab and do business. So it's a whole nother stepping stone to put us in the, and pretty much just shove us in the back. And that's been going on for decades now. Alright, this is the coldest of them all, aka Mike Eyeshaw, back at it again with another episode of Litjuicecity channel, Kush and Conversation, the Juneteenth edition. And like I was saying, I'm getting back on track with how if I was asking the question, is us as African Americans, are we independent? And I posed the argument of we're independent physically, but not mentally and not financially. And there's ways of still how America is still brainwashing not only people, other ethnicities in America, but all nations all across the planet to conspire, and pretty much how they look at us as inhumane and criminals. And here's another case with it, with this lady, I forgot what her name is, but she pretty much has footage of a Latin pretty much confessing that his grandmother was brainwashed into thinking that we were like criminals and we were outlaws. Go ahead and roll that clip, Rob.
A lot of people don't understand when I say that Mexicans are culturally racist. They think that I'm calling us openly racist. We are culturally racist, and this is how. Part of our culture is to frown upon dark-skinned people. It's been passed down to us by the Spaniards, by our colonizers, by the people that conquered us.
Now, before I resume the clip, pretty much there is a difference between being openly racist and being culturally racist. Openly racist is when you don't give a damn. You just hate all out in the open. You don't give a damn. But he's pretty much given a whole explanation with how his grandmother, was brainwashed into being culturally racist. How America was pretty much giving them a whole rundown of certain things, and they didn't give no descriptions, and how they were pretty much trained, how they were taught how this is how black people are, this is how black people really are, and how they develop and whatnot. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let the clip keep playing.
That dark skin is inferior, light skin is superior. We were taught that. It was passed down to us, meaning it's part of our culture. We are culturally racist in this aspect. That doesn't mean I go out in the streets and want to hurt black people because they're black.
Right.
It means that our teachings, the way we're raised, is that we are raised to subconsciously believe that dark skin is inferior and light skin is superior. Another element in our Mexican culture is Univision News, Univision channel. That channel is run by white Latinos. The ideologies and subliminal teachings that they teach is very similar to Fox News. White supremacist-ish. They make efforts to depict dark-skinned people as criminals, that whenever they even bother sharing news about dark-skinned people is when they do something wrong. But yet, when they want to mention anything that has to do with light-skinned people, specifically white people, is to depict them as them doing good deeds around the world, feeding the homeless, etc. You get it. Yeah. My grandmother was visiting one day from Mexico. She's never lived in the United States. She has no idea what life is out here. She was watching Univision News, where they depicted a black American committing a crime. She turned around and said, "Oye, estos negros solo estorban, ¿verdad? Hey, these black folks, all they do is get in the way, huh?" Here's the interesting part. She's never met a black person in her life. She has no idea what it's like to interact with a black person.
Now, like the man just said, she's never even came in contact with a actual African American before. She's being brainwashed. She's being fed mentally this. So imagine if she's being fed that, just imagine how many other nations is being fed this all across the globe. Is mind-boggling, but this is actual reality. That's why I said, like, really, there's other ways you can put people down outside of physically. You can, in one way, this is a whole nother way how you can put somebody down mentally, emotionally, financially. So let's continue on with the clip.
But yet she already has an opinion about black people as a whole. Why? Because part of our culture, in this particular case Univision News, since we were children, we have been subliminally taught the blacks are bad, criminals, etc. and whites are good, decent, giving, saviors, etc. We're taught that. Hearing her express such a hateful remark about a people that I knew for a fact she's never even interacted with. You don't even know a black person. How dare you come here to this country and have a whole opinion about these people? I resented her deeply for it. I regret it because you can't hate her for that. She never got the opportunity to learn what you have. I got the privilege of learning things that I self-taught. Since she's been a child, she's been working in the fields, never had the opportunity to sit and read a book to educate, nothing. All she ever has to teach her anything was this racist, biased news program. How could I blame her? She doesn't even know any better. And even if I sat with her today, I don't even think I could help her understand at this point, because she has lived 80 years worth of only understanding this mentality. A lot of people go to their graves thinking this is normal.
So, like I was saying, there's ways they put us down. So if you don't have to openly put us down by calling us, anti-slurral remarks, they use it in the media. They use it against you financially by not letting you secure loans. Hell, they use it against you even if you catch a case and you don't even have enough funds to even fight your case, and you automatically get convicted, and they don't have strong or overturning evidence against you. They use upon circumstantial evidence. So these are ways, like I was saying, we're not independent, but we still need to work upon that to even gain any type of ground for our community. So, like I said, it's a keep your eyes and ears open segment, and there's some more prime examples I'm about to hit you with. All right, I'm right back at y'all again. It's the coldest of them all, aka Mike. Got y'all tuned in on your dial. Now, picking up where we left off at. There's another prime example. Like I said, there's another example I'm gonna show you exclusive footage of how America brainwashes the whole nation about this whole racial thing. Load that footage up, Rob. Now, with that being said, I can bet $1 to a donut. Where y'all think they picked that up from? So, basically, like I said, those are my prime examples of physically we independent, but we still got a long ways to gain independence. So, they still got a chokehold on us financially. They still got a chokehold on us mentally. And systematically, they still got a chokehold on us. And as far as I'm concerned, I've even had it happen to me myself. Now, me personally, I've just about dated damn near every ethnicity you could probably imagine on the planet. And I met some of the families, and I'm going to say majority of the families, even though they didn't even know me from a can of paint, still gave me a second and third eye just due to me being a black male, African American male. And this is the stigma, like I said, that the whole United States of America, from media to government and all that, uses to market to the other nations all across the globe, and put it and pretty much stigmatize us and put us into that whole box. And what we really need to keep our eyes and ears open upon. Hell, it's even happening, and it's really spilled into our own community, and it happens to us within our own in the worst way. It's called the Willie Lynch syndrome, where we hate our own, where we even judge our own, where if you're light skinned, you're pretty much considered superior, or you're considered like top notch. If you're dark skinned, you're considered inferior, and you're considered lower at the bottom. And that's been taught to us throughout the history of our own oppression. So, and there's prime examples of that being shown, where you had the house Negro and you had the field Negro, where if you had the lightest of skin, but you were still considered a Negro, you were considered to be put in the house. And the field Negroes were the ones with considered the darkest skin and the nappiest of hair, and they considered the ugliest of all, and they got treated the most horrible, from eating scraps to being beat to all the above. So, like I said, this whole thing, this whole syndrome about being stigmatized and put in a box is still happening. It's still a major thing, and I really wanted to just give insight and keep everybody's eyes and ears open on what's really going on out here. And you may consider yourself that we came a long way, but I don't consider that we came a long way. We still got a long ways to go to build. But that being said, I'm gonna close it out on rest in peace and forever legacy to Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis's son, Ray Lewis Jr., who passed away, who was found dead from an accidental overdose of fentanyl. I'm about to load this clip.
Rest in peace to the dead. Ray Lewis, hold your head. Exclusive, baby. Ray Lewis III died from accidental overdose, according to cops. Former college football player Ray Lewis III, the son of Hall of Fame linebacker Ray Lewis, died from an overdose. This, according to police. TMZ Sports obtained an overdose report from police in Florida and it says Lewis apparently died from an accidental overdose. Police say they responded to a call for a medical emergency and found an unresponsive Lewis who was getting CPR from a friend while another friend was screaming for Narcan, a drug used during overdoses. Cops say Lewis was laying naked in a room between a bed and a wall, and he was not breathing. Police say they administered Narcan in his right nostril, but there was no response. The report says cops searched the room and found a blue pill near Lewis' body, which they unofficially identified as alprazolam, the drug in brands like Xanax. Police also say there was a used needle at the scene, plus a small plastic bag found inside an empty beer can. As we reported, Lewis was found dead earlier this week, and police report says the call came in at 5:29 p.m. on Wednesday. While police believe the death was an accidental overdose, they note the medical examiner will make the final determination on the cause of death. Now, this may seem hypocritical because what I said about Juvenile and his son, but his son was a gang banger, which is an active lifestyle you have to participate in, opposed to something that Ray Lewis basically had nothing to do with. When people die from drug overdoses and stuff like that, that's on them. When we have this propensity to overprotect our kids, they'll jump out. They'll just do certain things. You can never raise your kids. You can only help grow them to whatever they're going to be. So when your kids decide to become something at a way older age, like a drug addict or a gang member, then that's on your kids. But if you put your kids in certain positions to endure hardships and stuff like that, that helps grow them into their character unto whatever it is that you help them become. But first off, we just got to realize something. We're in a culture where overindulgence is the norm. Drink one beer, you're probably going to drink about 3 or 4. If you smoke one cigarette, you're probably going to smoke 3 or 4. If you do one blunt, you're probably going to do about 3 or 4 during the day. It just is what it is. We have this mindset of do it. And then on top of that, we're more, quote unquote, free than we ever been. We have more access to things than we ever had. But also we're more drugged out than we've ever been. We're more lonely than we ever been. So I don't know what's going on through that young man's mind. I personally, I don't do pills or none of that stuff like that. For the most part, I live a straight edge lifestyle. I drink when I'm at home. I don't drink while I'm out and about. But either way that go, man, rest in peace to the dead, bro. Hold your head, Ray Lewis. I pray to God I never experienced, or any one of my people never experienced anything like that. We want our kids to bury us. We don't want to bury our kids. So with that being said, man, I don't know what the hell I can say, honestly. But subscribe, turn on that bell, stay notified, and share to keep your people aware. You might save your kid one day, man. Hug your people while they're here, feed them soup while they're sick, and tell them you love them when you get off the phone with them, because you never know when it's going to be the last time.
Once again, condolences and prayers sent out forever legacy to Ray Lewis and his family on the unexpected passing of Ray Lewis III. And it just goes to show you, man, whatever you're doing, please keep your eyes and your ears open on whatever you're doing. Just about damn near everything that we're taking is probably laced with fentanyl now. Hell, everything, even over-the-counter prescription drugs, is damn near being overlaced with fentanyl. Whatever is said to be, your body is your temple, so please keep extra guard, and please just keep extra guard and grill on your body and what you're taking, what you're intaking, what you're overtaking. And if you're overindulging, please be aware, because like he just said, like my man Seti Nash just said, we're in a culture now in modern day era, if you're overindulging in things and you probably don't even understand, like it could be one overdose too many, and that could pretty much cancel out or equal out to your death. So, like I said, man, with that being said, man, that's enough. And that's more of I'm out of time. It's coldest of them all, aka Mike Highshaw, tuned in on your dial. Please, please, please keep your eyes and your ears open and take notes. You do not know when the game in life is going to test you. I'm out. Deuces.